It is going the right direction.
That's right. From where we were at halftime of the Texas game, I go back to then because actually second half we played Texas pretty decent, which meant the players and the coaches, hell, like we kept playing anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
It was all over, but nobody tossed in the towel. And then I think we've made some changes here, there, and the other. Of course, Lagway's back.
Yep.
And Baugh and Baden, receiver and running back, are outstanding. But our defense is playing, Pat. Heck, we're tackling. We know what we're doing. We don't make stupid penalties.
Another Duly Noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Okay, and welcome into another Duly Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. It'll be a fun show today. Coach Spurrier will be in here, of course, as he always is on Meldon Mondays. And then on for our Yes, No, Where, Maybe segment, Jeff Cardozo is going to join us. Robbie actually has Thanksgiving in the mountains every year, and he couldn't get access to whatever. But anyway, that's fine. He does such a great job, but Jeff's going to do a great job as well. And we've got a lot to talk about here. Thursday's show is Wednesday's show. First of all, we're going to do it Wednesday, and it'll be a shorter show, and we're not going to have a guest. We're just going I don't want to ask people to come on the day before Thanksgiving. I'm just going to do a short show and take care of our sponsors and let you know what I think about certain games, and we'll talk about that on Wednesday. And then, of course, we'll be back Monday with the regular show. The following Thursday, Barrett Salee from Smothered and Covered is going to join us, and we'll have a good time, and we'll get it going. And we will talk about the playoffs because by then we'll know what they're going to look like. Right now, it is time for us to get to our Gainesville Quarterback Club starting five, and it is brought to you by the Gainesville Quarterback Club, where tomorrow night Carlos Alvarez will be the speaker. I cannot wait to see Carlos. I haven't seen him since last year around this time. Actually, it was earlier than this because he signed a bunch of stuff for our golf tournament. He's a good friend, and it's so cool to have him for the penultimate Gainesville Quarterback Club meeting of the year. 2 weeks from now, they have their high school thing, and it is unbelievable how cool that is. All these kids come, their parents come. It is really one of the great things that they do, and hopefully they'll be getting the trophy for Florida winning the FSU game, which they had to give it back. It's this trophy they give back and forth, and hopefully they'll be able to get it, but we have to see. But anyway, that's then, and this is now. And this is now means also that the Gainesville Quarterback Club has one more week as the sponsor of the starting five, and we appreciate them so much. I cannot tell you guys how much I appreciate that quarterback club. Not only for the friendships, for people who I've been able to deal with on this or on the golf tournament, stuff like that. Certainly Vinny DeCana is a good example of that. I appreciate them so much, and then to sponsor me when they're already giving me money to be the scouting report talker, it means a lot to me. However, they only do it during football, which certainly is understandable. And then, luckily, I was speaking to the Palatka Quarterback Club on Thursday, and my buddy Randy Royal was there. Randy's got a business going, and he is going to agree to be the new sponsor of our starting five, starting on, I guess it'll be next Monday, which will be the 2nd. And he owns a company that sells boats, like big boats, small boats. My dream is to own a not a paddle boat, what do you call it? Pontoon boat. The ones where all you got to do is I don't want to go fast. I just want to be in a boat and look at things. But he is going to be the sponsor of it, and we will talk him up because, first of all, Randy is a good friend of mine, and it's Royal Blue with 2 L's because their name is spelled with 2 L's. I know certainly his brother over at Destin is where I met him and met Randy as well, and they'll be the new sponsor. But today, it is the Gainesville Quarterback Club starting five. And let's start with number 1, which is the corner is turned now. Okay, you can see around the corner. Now, it used to be blinking around the corner. You beat LSU and you're kind of, can I really look? Now you're walking around the corner and you're strutting a little bit after that win. Now, I didn't ever think that we would be sitting here celebrating 6 and 5. But certainly Gator fans everywhere are because they feel like it's going the right way now. Now they can see it. Now they see the vision. Now they see a defense that can play. Now they see guys getting interceptions. What a novel idea. They had 11. They had 3 picks in the game. They should have had 4, but he didn't get it. Okay, Dijon Johnson did not get it, but obviously Florida's now got 11 interceptions. Last year they had 3 interceptions, 3, and I think the year before it was 5. They have not had 11 interceptions in a long time. I need to go back and look that up, how long it's been since they had 11 interceptions in a year, and there's 2 more games left. And these guys seem to have an awareness for the ball. That much I appreciate. Not just, hey, there goes the ball. But Bryce Thornton, who we went into this season not thinking he was going to be a huge factor, and of course, he's had some injuries and everything, came back. 2 interceptions, and this is our Campus USA play of the weekend is definitely, and this is a great view, the end zone view of Bryce Thornton's pick to seal the game. Now, you have to look at where he is. Right there, see him right there? You can see 18, number 18. Here's one thing when I'm watching this clip I notice, how long it takes, as fast tempo as Ole Miss has, how long it takes them to get going when they decide they're going to check off and everything. But this is the great part of this play, is you watch Thornton right there, and he's just watching the ball and makes the pick, and that clinches it for the Mighty Gators, and we're all happy today. But Bryce Thornton, that is our Campus USA play of the weekend. And again, he is just playing that perfect. And I don't know what Jackson Dart was thinking. There was a couple, he threw 2 picks to Bryce Thornton, and I don't know what he was thinking on either one. But that is the thing that Florida hasn't been able to do in the past. First of all, they haven't played with leads that often, and that's been part of their problem. But when you get a lead and they've got to throw and it's the end of the game, they're going to throw some balls up, and sometimes they're going to take a chance and hope for it. Now, on that play, the guy was running an out and was supposed to turn up, and I don't know that he was supposed to turn up or he ran an out. And it's kind of the understanding you turn up if the quarterback starts scrambling, but he didn't do it. He just stood there, and that's a good thing that he did. So that was a big part of the Florida win. Certainly their defense was amazing in that game. Let's get to number 2 on our Gainesville Quarterback Club starting 5, and that is the way the offense played, which was not good. It was good early, and it looked very efficient. Lagway looked good. Certainly the running backs looked good. And it looked good, and then all of a sudden the third quarter came, and they had 4 yards. Now, I think I could get 4 yards playing tailback. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe 3 I could get. But they got 4 yards. And, again, they just seemed out of sync on offense, and that was the amazing part of it. And then they get this drive. And the drive was started by what? A deep pass to DK. And it was a perfect, well, it wasn't a perfect throw. If it was a perfect throw, he probably would have had a touchdown, but it was a good throw. And DK makes a great catch. And then you set up the Montrell Johnson touchdown. And that was what the offense contributed. They didn't contribute a ton to this game, but they didn't have to. And that's how you win a game 24-17. Don't forget, last 2 weeks, Florida's played ranked teams. They've given up 33 total points. That's 16.5 a game. That is the way that's winning football. That is the winning football that we couldn't talk about earlier in the year. They weren't playing winning football. They certainly didn't against Miami. Miami's got a very good team. They certainly didn't against Texas A&M. Texas A&M has a very nice team. Maybe, I don't know how good it is. They could end up with 1 victory ahead of Florida, but they're a good team. They were good, certainly they're ready to play that day. Tennessee's a very good team. Florida had them on the ropes. Took them to OT. Look, this team is pretty good. Now, we know that, and it's fun to enjoy it. And by the way, because we'll talk more about the Florida FSU game Wednesday when we do our special Thanksgiving show, but the Florida FSU game, if you haven't heard, is going to be at 7. It was 7 or 7:30. They decided on 7. Woo, it makes a big difference. I wish they were playing during the day just to get it over with and see what happens. Because that, to me, the 12 o'clock games, and I know the fans don't like them, but I love them. Because I can sit there and watch the game, it's over, boom, watch everything else. But anyway, that's what time the game is. All right, let's get to number 3 on our Gainesville Quarterback Club's starting 5, and that is the storming the field that has gotten way out of hand in college football. Nebraska stormed the field because they made a bowl game. Nebraska. You think Florida fans could sit around going, man, I can't believe we're celebrating 6-5. They're celebrating 6-5. And probably should. So we had that. You had the Arizona State storming the field with time left on the clock. Now, they didn't know there was time left on the clock, but I still think that should be a penalty. And again, I was rooting for the other teams, but I still think it should be a penalty. If you storm the field and there's time left on the clock. In fact, that's what happened at Auburn. They stormed the field, time left on the clock. Oklahoma. Or was it Oklahoma where they stormed the field with 28 seconds to go? One of them did anyway. 4 different Power 5 teams stormed the field. And now, here's what's happening, man. Social media, this is where social media takes over college football. People didn't storm the field that often before. Every once in a while, it had to be a big win. You had to beat number 1. You had to beat a team you hadn't beaten in 38 years or something like that. Now, we won. Let's storm the field. That's all it takes. So, look, Oklahoma stormed the field for beating now a 3-loss team. Coach Spurrier wanted Florida to storm the field for beating what's now a 4-loss team. I just think it's gotten out of hand, and I still think I have the solution, but nobody will listen to me, and that is, look, you tell everybody in the NCAA football that if you storm the field, you lose a home game, and if you do it once, you lose it 2 years from now. And if you do it twice, you lose it next year. You lose next year's home game. Guess what would happen? Nobody would storm the field because, look, it's not hard to stop people from storming the field. It is not that difficult. Now, a lot of you are going to say, I think it's part of college football. Nobody storms the field in the NFL. It's what makes college football great. It's the students and having a good time. I get that. But I just worry about what's going to happen. And certainly that journalism part of me, the being on the field and almost getting killed one time, all that is part of it. Having a guy step on my shoulder to run on the field at a basketball game. I'm not a big fan of storming the field. Act like you've won before. Well, in the case of Nebraska, they really haven't. But, look, I've got the solution. They're not going to do it, so they're going to keep storming the field, and we'll just leave it at that. I don't want to sound like a grouchy old man. Hey, get off my yard. I don't want to do that, but it's just too much. I think that Florida fans may storm the field if they beat 2-10 FSU. We're storming the field. They did. I think the last time Florida did storm the field was in Tallahassee. I think it was 82 maybe when they stormed the field in Tallahassee, and they turned the sprinklers on them. All right, let's get to number 4, and that is the chaos that was the SEC and certainly college football on Saturday. This is how much chaos there was. This was Tennessee fans in their own stadium getting ready for their game to start, but they were paying attention to the other game, and they're doing the Gator chomp. So this is how much chaos there is in the SEC. Tennessee fans doing the Gator chomp because, and look, I don't blame them. I don't blame them because that got them within range of getting into the 12 teams. So I don't blame them for doing that. And if they can beat Vanderbilt, they'll be in. They don't have to play in the conference championship game, so that'll be it. We do now know that Georgia and the winner of Texas A&M will play for the SEC championship. We thought there was going to be all these crazy tiebreakers, but everybody kept losing, and so that's it. Texas, if they win, they're in, and if they lose, they're probably still in the playoffs. If A&M wins, they're in. If they lose, there's no way they're in. I know that they're trying to make it about the runner-up in your conference should get special merit, but if you lose 4 games, and that loss to Auburn was brutal for them, brutal. I watched the whole game. They deserved to lose, but it was a brutal loss for them. And certainly Georgia kind of sneaking in the back door. But, again, their 2 losses have been on the road. They were close games, so we'll see what happens here going forward. But that has been chaos, certainly with all the losses that happened. All right, let's get to number 5 on our Gainesville Quarterback Club starting 5, and that is what happened in basketball this weekend. Of course, Friday, Florida won. They beat Southern Illinois or Illinois State. I can't remember which one it was. It was a team from Illinois. They were not a bad team. Florida played pretty well. But look, it's all going to get started now. I will say this. I was watching a USF game and I was watching an FSU game, and I was rooting for both of them because Florida beat them, and you just want the net ranking to go up. But I'm going to stop doing that. What I want to do is watch and see how Florida does going forward. And again, Thursday night is their first of several games in a row against Power 4 teams or Power 5 teams or Power 6 teams, however they want to phrase it right now, because I think they count the Big East as a power team. So, but it's going to get really interesting going forward. But look, he's got them playing really well, and good for Todd Golden that he's got them playing well, and we'll see how it goes going forward. All right, that's going to do it for our Gainesville Quarterback Club starting 5. We'll be back with Coach Spurrier. Always love that. And then Jeff Cardozo will do Yes, No, Where, Maybe. All that and more coming up on another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios.
And now for a special announcement from Steve Spurrier.
Spurrier's Gridiron gift cards are on sale for 20% off between November 26th and December the 2nd. You can go to spurriers.com and order a digital card or stop by our restaurant in Celebration Point and pick up some today for the Gators and the people that love good food in your life. Use the code GC20 and get 20% off. That's right, 20% off gift cards with the code GC20.
Get yours today at spurriers.com.
Meldon Law has been serving personal injury victims since 1971. In those days, Jeffrey Meldon's presence as an attorney in the music scene dubbed him with the nickname the Hippie Attorney. And although times have changed, two things haven't: our commitment to bettering our community by helping the injured,
Albert, are you ready to go to the game?
and our love for the Florida Gators.
If you bleed orange and blue, Meldon Law is the firm for you.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Okay, welcome back to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios here at Steve Spurrier's Grill. And, of course, Steve Spurrier's Grill is where Coach Spurrier spends a lot of time, and he's had a lot of fun here. I know that. But we always love having him on the show, and certainly all Gators are happy right now. These two wins, kind of signature wins for Billy Napier. And I never thought we would be happy and be celebrating 6-5, because 6-5 in your era was not going to cut it. But that it is going in the right direction.
That's right. From where we were at halftime of the Texas game, I go back to then, because actually second half we played Texas pretty decent, which meant the players and the coaches, hell, like we kept playing anyway.
Yeah, exactly. It
was all over, but nobody tossed in the towel. And then I think we've made some changes here, there, and the other. Of course, Lagway's back. Yep. And Baugh and Baden, receiver and running back, are outstanding. But our defense is playing, Pat. Heck, we're tackling. We know what we're doing. We don't make stupid penalties. How many sacks we get? LSU game, we got 6 or 7.
Yeah. But they had 11 tackles for loss in that game. I think they had 10 in this game. I mean, they're getting that penetration. Yeah. And that's what we hadn't seen for a while, was that physicality on the defensive line.
Heck yeah. When you think about it, we moved in the red zone twice and got 14 points. They were in there 3 times. 4th and 1, they didn't make it twice, and they missed a short field goal. So, I mean, when you maximize your scoring chances like we're doing, and the other team's messing up, and of course we're causing them to mess up, and then you certainly got a chance to win the game. But, I sort of said, man, our defense, it kept us in the ball game. I don't think we made a first down the whole third quarter.
No, they had 4 yards. 4 yards in the third quarter.
Oh.
Yeah.
and I'm up there saying we just got to make a couple first downs. Let the defense rest a minute. But and then finally we got something going there in the fourth quarter and got a touchdown. And Smack made a long field goal.
Yep.
And then we had those 2 defensive stands. I mean, Ole Miss had plenty of time to tie it up and they couldn't do it. So give those defensive coaches, as well as the players, a lot of credit for the victory, a lot of it.
Yeah, I want to give Coach Harris a lot of credit because that secondary, don't forget, last year they had 3 interceptions in an entire season. This year they've got 11 already with 2 games to go at least. So, and getting bowl eligible, I think was just like a sideline to it. It was more that they beat a top 10 team, and that they won it in the way that Billy Napier's envisioned it all along. Play good defense, kicking game's good, got enough on offense. That's the way he's envisioned it.
Yeah. I don't think, did we celebrate much about being bowl eligible? Not like some other schools, which I think is sort of good. We expected to win 6 games at least.
Not like Nebraska did.
Well, Sam Pittman, he was rolling a bowling ball in the locker room. I hadn't seen that one. But that was big for Arkansas to be bowl eligible.
It was,
And Nebraska, too. They hadn't been bowl eligible in, 8 years or so?
6 or 7, yeah.
6 or 7. They hadn't won 6 games.
Yeah.
So I can understand celebrating a little bit, getting 6 wins. But the more I look at college football now, Pat, there's a whole bunch of teams going to be 6-6.
Yeah, exactly.
The talent is so even. It's who plays the best or which group of coaches really coaches a good game and has his team ready to play. Because the talent level, I think, is pretty close all over the country. Certainly there's some schools a little bit better, but everybody's got a lot of good players now, it seems like.
Okay, so here's a theory I have. The portal has made players not quit because everything they do is going on tape. And so even if you're thinking you're going to get in the portal, you're still going to play hard, and that helps your team. Now, we should play hard all the time, but no, I don't think Florida's in that boat. I think Florida's got a bunch of guys who want to be here and going to be here next year, and they're just playing that. And that's the best thing Napier's done is keep that team together and really to ignore the noise and just play hard. And they've continued to do that.
Yeah, I agree. Billy Napier has been consistent, and over and over again, the preparation has been better. And, I think Arthur Ashe one time said preparation leads to confidence. And we're a confident bunch of guys now. And then preparation and confidence will lead to success. And so we've had some success the last 2 weeks, and hopefully 2 more wins. I mean, we can dream about being 8-4, which ain't too bad when you were 4-6 at one time. So,
it'll be 8-5.
I'm sorry, 4-5. Yeah,
8-5
at one time. Yeah, got a chance to.
Hey, you may end up ranked if you go 8-5. You could sneak in there at number 25.
The schedule we had.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's what you do toward the end of the year.
We were, and we're going to talk with Jeff Cardozo a little bit about this too today.
8-5. Yeah, you're right.
Do you think? If say they beat FSU, do you think Billy Napier gets like a couple of votes for SEC Coach of the Year? To me, it's between Clark Lee and Sark and also Elko. Now, Elko losing that last game probably took him out of that.
Well, he's got one more.
Yeah, he does. That's a big one. If he wins that one,
I'm going to halfway think that Texas A&M upsets Texas. Well, it won't be a huge upset because they play in Atlanta, and that will toss the SEC championship game, A&M and Georgia. Georgia gets to play in Atlanta. I'm going to take the Bulldogs to win the SEC this year.
So that knocks A&M out, and that would mean Texas could still get in, but we'll see how it goes. I mean, like we've talked about, playing in the SEC championship game is almost. You better damn win it, because if you lose it,
before the season, if you had 3 losses, you had no chance to make the playoffs. And now they're saying, wait a minute. I mean, Ole Miss is even back in the discussion.
They're talking about South Carolina.
And South Carolina.
If they can beat Clemson this week.
And South Carolina. Yeah, I think the Clemson-South Carolina game should be for a spot in the 12-team playoff, because it's a big game for both teams. Both teams have played very well toward the end of the season. So, It should be a first spot in the playoffs, I think.
Certainly going to be interesting. And that's the thing. We talked about this before the season, how there was a lot of people saying this, not me, that the 12-team playoff is going to make the regular season not as interesting. What are you talking about? We've had the most interesting regular season ever. It's been unbelievable.
Well, and I still couldn't believe that Lane Kiffin did not want to be in the championship game because he thought he might get some guys hurt and couldn't get in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You know, the odds, Ole Miss, you know the last time they won the SEC?
58?
1963.
63. I was in the same era.
So they are what is that? 61 years ago, something like that. So if I hadn't won an SEC, I'd really want to try to do that. But anyway, I don't think his opinion was shared by others. I think Kirby Smart loves playing for SEC championships.
Absolutely.
And I think his team's going to be ready in 2 weeks to do that. And they got a tough game with Georgia Tech.
They do.
Tech is good this year too.
And UMass ran on them, and Georgia Tech is a running team. So we'll see how that works out. But that's the other thing. When he makes that statement, the players hear it. Okay, that we don't know if we want to play in the SEC championship game. Dan Mullen did the same thing with in 2020, where he was like, "We don't even have to beat LSU. We could still beat Alabama and get into the playoffs." And that's you never put into the mind of a player, "We don't have to win this game."
No, you never say that.
You never say that to a player. And I think that may have hurt Ole Miss a little bit. Although
that's the game he held out the wide receiver, tight end.
Kyle Pitts,
and he warmed up and everything, then didn't play.
Didn't play.
Yeah.
Wanted to save him.
Yeah, I don't. Well, we thought we could beat him without.
Yeah,
I think that's what he thought. Yeah,
but they didn't.
No,
that's
didn't.
the point. I mean, it's very easy to think you're going to win the game, but it's another thing to win the game.
Yeah.
I wanted to also take you to the Alabama situation, which is, I mean, I couldn't believe watching that game. Now, you and I were talking off the air. That was an unbelievably bad call that they got. But by then, they were also down 24-3. It wasn't like that would have meant a huge difference, but it would have meant a difference when they called the guy for being lined up wrong, and he wasn't. No matter how many times they showed it, he was still lined up right. But, Alabama with 3 losses and to lose to Vandy and then to lose to a bad Oklahoma team, that's not a good look for Kalen DeBoer.
Yeah, after they had come back so well,
to
play so well after a couple of losses, Vandy and who else beat them? Texas did.
Yeah,
I think so. But anyway, they. In fact, I was still picking them to win the SEC, but not now, obviously, because Georgia is, to me, got the inside track. But Alabama was surprising the way they played that game, and I mean, if they beat Auburn, they still might could get in, from what I hear. Who knows?
Well, they could, I mean, they need more chaos, but all we've seen is chaos. Every weekend we're seeing chaos. Look at this last weekend where Ole Miss, Alabama, A&M all lose. And we all thought we had it all figured out. Nobody has it figured out. But I do want to talk to you about Florida State because that's a big rival for you. You dealt with that rivalry. You had to play FSU at their peak. From 90 to 90 or to 2001. You played them as good as they were going to get. Luckily for some coaches, they've gotten them at other times, but certainly I don't think everybody's ever played them at 2 and what are they, 2-9 right now?
Yeah.
But you've got to keep the momentum going, right?
Correct. Yeah, do the same preparation this week as we've been doing the last 2, and go up there and try to beat FSU by 1 touchdown or 4 touchdowns or 3 points, whatever it takes.
Yeah,
but,
win by 1 is my philosophy.
Yeah, but try to win by as much as you can. Give your best effort and all that. But anyway, that's a big game. It's up there. Heck, FSU's been very good over the years, especially in their home ballpark. So we got to be ready to go play our best. Yeah,
they do. They've got to play well.
And I think if some of their players already transferred, I've heard they're hitting their transfer portal up there pretty fast. So hopefully they. But
who knows what will happen this week?
Disregard.
They may go home for Thanksgiving.
Go play the best we can.
Yeah.
That's what you tell our guys.
You can only control yourself.
That's right.
Yeah.
Let's get ready to play it.
You look at injuries and everything that happened in a game. You can't worry about them. You got to.
Danny Warfel will give you this story. when I'm coaching the Apollos in the Alliance of American Football, we're playing the Atlanta team up there. And I had Danny come by and talk during devotions. I think we actually played on a Sunday afternoon. So he came up and he said, I know what Coach Spurrier told you. This is the biggest game of your life coming this afternoon. And all of them said, yeah, he said that because it's the only one you got control over.
That's
it's
right.
the next one.
Yep.
So the next one's always the biggest of your life. So for the Gators, this is the biggest game of the year. And then when it's over, it's one of the least important.
Yeah, exactly.
But now through the end of the game, it's the most important. Yeah.
Well, and that's funny because the Mike Elko situation, he said he was given a press conference Monday or Tuesday of last week, and he said all of our focus is on Texas. I mean Auburn.
He did accidentally say.
Yeah,
I think he accidentally said that.
Yeah, he did, and that kind of.
Oh, they blew it up. Yeah.
Now you lose the game, and everybody's like, "Well, maybe you weren't focused on them."
Yeah.
Well, we'll see.
I think that was accident, but he didn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's history now.
So who do you like in that Texas A&M game?
I'm going to go for the upset, A&M. I think they'll. Of course, it's in Atlanta, so. No, wait. I'm sorry. The game this week's at A&M.
A&M,
yeah. I'm talking
to go to Atlanta.
Yeah, the SEC championship game. So it's at A&M, and they got
which
Texas.
is a tough place to play.
Oh, 110,000.
You've been there, yeah.
110,000. It's one of the biggest ballparks in the country. And now they're screaming and yelling.
Yeah.
Jimbo couldn't get them screaming and yelling like they're doing now. So it's home field advantage A&M. So I'm sort of taking A&M in it.
Well, we got a lot of rivalry games this week, and certainly Clemson, South Carolina is one you would live through a lot, and you kind of owned them for a long time.
Well, we had that five-year win streak,
yeah,
and then they turned it around a little bit after that. So it's pretty much a toss-up game. I don't know who's favorite.
I looked it up today. I can't remember who it was, but I think Clemson is a slight favorite. Yeah.
Two or so. It is at their place, so that'd give them a couple.
But I think that South Carolina team, if they go beat Clemson, let's just say they go and put the woodshed on them, and they don't have to play the following week, they could sneak in the back of that playoff.
If they beat Clemson 31-10 or something.
Yeah.
Oh shoot, that's 9-3, and their wins are pretty impressive.
The wins are very
and their
good,
losses were close losses that could have gone either way.
And the one with Lenore Sellers got hurt against LSU, and they were winning. I think they were up 14 at the time, and they ended up losing the game because the backup quarterback didn't get it. So we'll see, and it's going to be fun. I've been looking forward to this for a long time, this end of this season where you have rivalry games, then championship games, and then you start the playoffs, and it's 12 teams, and it's going to be fun.
Yeah, they lost the LSU game. They actually, one of their DBs had an interception, and we're about 100 yards, and the defensive lineman for South Carolina was blocking the quarterback, and they said he hit him too hard.
Oh,
he hit
poor
him,
baby.
He hit him. I mean, it wasn't a clip, and it wasn't helmet to helmet. He hit him too hard.
I remember that.
Yeah, he gave him a good shove, and he knocked down like he was hurt. And they said unnecessary roughness. Gosh, they used to not call that in football, but now they can do things like that, I guess.
All right, last thing for you, because you tried to get the field storm last week, okay? It didn't work. Maybe this would have been a good week to do it, but obviously nobody was going to do it.
Our administrators
were not going to allow that.
Do not want a field storm. So
but
I'm
we
out
saw
of that.
4 of them in the Power 5 this year.
Everybody does it almost, except Alabama. They don't do it.
But the problem is that 2 of them happened before the game ended.
Yeah.
And you got to –
Arizona State one, yeah.
And then there was another game. I think it was the I can't remember which. I think it was the Auburn game. They ran out with like 28 seconds left or something.
Did they also?
Yeah.
I knew they stormed the field. I didn't know what time they did it. But that Arizona State one was something because when they all, I mean, it was loaded with people. It wasn't just
it was packed.
Yeah, it was packed. So they had to clear them off for 1 second.
Why is that not a penalty though? I guess because the clock hit 0. But still, you're violating the rules
That should have been a penalty.
Yeah, it should have been.
Maybe that guy could have reached the end zone because the kid caught it. You know, he caught it on about 4 yards.
I know.
Yeah. It would have been something.
Yeah. It was a wild weekend of college football, and I loved every minute of it. I had my 3 TVs going the whole time. It was great.
It was good.
So I know you enjoyed it too, and we'll come back Monday, and we'll talk about the semis and how the Gators did against them.
That's a big one.
Yep. Absolutely. All right, we'll be back with more. Jeff Cardozo taking over for Robbie today on yes, no way, or maybe. So we'll do that when we come back here on another Duly Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
Gator fans, football season is here. What's better than seeing the Gators back on the field? Easy. Seeing amazing speakers and fellow Gator fans weekly at the Gainesville Quarterback Club. Held every Tuesday night of a home game at the Best Western Gateway Grand. Enjoy happy hour, great food, valuable insights from yours truly and Andy Staples, plus notable speakers throughout the season. As the oldest Gator booster club in the world, Gainesville Quarterback Club gives you access to elite speakers like coaches, NCAA football insiders, Gator greats, and more. Share your passion for Gator football with hundreds of other members at weekly in-season meetings, home tailgates, and special events throughout the year. Join the Gainesville Quarterback Club today. Email the club at membership@quarterbackclub.org or visit thequarterbackclub.org. Or better yet, just give me a call and I'll get you to the right people. Adams Rib Company has been a staple of Gainesville for more than a decade and a staple of the Dooley house ever since Kelsey's teeth came in. The first time I walked into Adams, I told my daughter that the green beans are always a test of a great barbecue restaurant, and they were perfect. You know about the ribs that melt in your mouth, and my favorite, the turkey plate. But be sure to go in on Fridays for Nana's Fish Nuggets. They will melt in your mouth. Adams Rib Co., a Gainesville great. Okay, welcome back to another Duly Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. We have gone to the bullpen. Robbie's up in the mountains for Thanksgiving, and we brought in the crafty right-hander who's got a little bit of a hook, and we look forward to talking to Jeff Cardozo on Yes, No, Where, Maybe here on a Big Mills Cheesesteaks Zoom line. What up, Jeff?
Crafty is a good word. 92 is like plus nowadays, so exactly what it would be.
There's guys that are throwing like sliders at 92.
Yeah.
It's a different world, though, isn't it? All right, Jeff is willing to play Yes, No, Where, or Maybe with us, and we always enjoy talking to him. And I know, Jeff, you were there for the game Saturday night and or Saturday afternoon. These two games back to back. I mean, there was a season when Florida beat LSU and Auburn and Georgia, I think, back to back, and that was pretty cool in 90. I think it was 96. But this has been a pretty good trifecta, or I guess quinella.
Yeah, and it's obviously when you look at the beginning of the season and thought this was even possible, I think nobody would have told you. In fact, I saw somebody today. Obviously, it got rehashed, but it basically said when the schedule came out, it said if Florida beats LSU, Ole Miss, and Florida State to end the season, I will get a tattoo of Billy Napier's face on my butt.
Oh,
so now we'll have to see if that's actually possible now. Oh, people are tweeting that out there.
We got to hold him to that. It's like remember the FSU fan said that if they lost to Boston College, he was going to eat dog poop, and I don't think he ever did, though, right?
No, he didn't come through.
No, but the dog poop is what they've been this year. So Jeff, it's important to keep the momentum going. And they've got to totally forget everything that happened last week and move on to the next game.
Yeah, I think more than anything, you just have to give Billy Napier and that staff and obviously the players credit for just staying with it. And I think a lot of teams probably across the country would have given up, and they only played harder and they understood the process, and it was a long process. And I'm happy for them to see that it's finally paying off, because they never stop working hard. They never stop coaching. They never stop lifting weights. Like the entire mindset of everybody that's a part of that football program was to go out and try to make this happen. And for now a couple of weeks, they certainly have been able to do that.
Are you surprised Florida's a 14.5-point favorite?
Nah, maybe actually with this freshman quarterback that Florida State has, he's probably better than DJU. So it could be a little bit closer, but
he would have to be better than him.
Yes, no question.
No, he's not very good. So it would have been DJU against DJ. So that would have been good.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
All right, let's play Yes, No, Where, or Maybe with Jeff Cardozo. It is brought to you by Big Mill's Cheesesteak, where Jeff has been many times, and he's eaten many a sausage dog at a golf tournament from Big Mill's Cheesesteak. If you listen to this and you go there and you say, hey, I listened to Jeff Cardozo on the Big Mill's Cheesesteak Zoom line, you get free fries with the order. Let's go to number one on Yes, No, Where, or Maybe. Jeff, Florida has 11 interceptions this year after having 3 the year before. They finished the season, 2 more games, with 15 picks.
15. I would probably say no. Or I guess no way would be the right way to do it. I think you'd probably get a couple more, but not 4 more. But again, give them a lot of credit for what they've been able to do. You don't have your 2 corners. You've had a lot of freshmen step up and start to figure this thing out. But yeah, Pat, it's what we talked about before the year. You got to start creating turnovers and doing different things. And I think you give a lot of credit to that defensive staff. They brought in a new coach for the back ends this year, and Will Harris, and he's been absolutely incredible. Who would have thought once you had both of those guys go out that it would be even attainable? And then Aaron Gates goes out at the very beginning of the game, and you're like, oh crap, what's Florida going to be able to do? And then you almost had targeting a couple plays later, so they would have had nobody. So for them to be able to do that, and obviously against a guy that only had 4 picks on the entire year, to get him a couple of times at the end like that was pretty awesome.
Remember what I told you on the radio, that your depth is only as good as your injuries, and it obviously that showed up in Texas, but it hadn't shown up anywhere else. So I think they've been able to next man up. But I mean, when you lost your whole secondary and both your starting quarterbacks, you were not going to win that game. We knew that. All right, let's go to number 2 on Yes, Nowhere, Maybe with Jeff Cardozo. Billy Napier, at the end of the year, gets some votes for SEC Coach of the Year.
Yes, I would think he would have to. And it's cool to see the recognition now from, not only here locally, where I think some of us felt that he could certainly be that type of guy. But when you have Kurt Herbstreit and Pat McAfee and guys all tweeting out how special of a job that he's really done, I think that puts it into perspective of at least these guys understand how much of a process it was and how hard this schedule was for one. And to be able to do this, I think he's certainly turned a lot of heads. It'll be interesting to see how this final week before National Signing Day shows up. What is he going to do in the portal? I would think a lot of people would want to come, and it's an attractive place now for everybody understanding how good he's been. I think, his comments on television have been posted everywhere. The comments he gave me for about 5 minutes after the game for the radio network were pretty similar, but he does it the right way. And I think for the grind and trying to keep that whole team together, like we just talked about, I think he will definitely get some votes for some kind of Coach of the Year.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because if Elko loses back-to-back games, I would say he's a front runner. But Clark Lee, if he loses back-to-back games, and Billy wins 3 in a row, you never know. But I mean, look, I would vote probably for Clark Lee right now. I would have voted for Elko earlier in the year, but we'll see how it goes down the stretch here. Finally, Jeff, this is important to you, I know. On Yes, No, Where, Maybe. Florida plays USF in the Gasparilla Bowl, which is where 3 different people have them slated to go.
I guess maybe, so I can cover all of them. I hope that that's not the case. And Pat, remember the Gators play USF at the beginning of next year.
I know. That's what I keep saying.
That would be pretty stupid. So hopefully they would look at that, and Florida would obviously put in to say, hey, we don't want to play these guys twice, and just obviously a couple of games. So we'll see. I guess it's at least fun to be talking about knowing that Florida's in a bowl and not having to wait. But I guess my vote would certainly be for someplace in Tennessee, either Nashville or Memphis would be kind of cool.
Well, remember what I told you last week that DJ Lagway gives them a notch up. Like the fact that he would be playing in the game would give you a notch up, because a lot of these schools they're gonna have opt-out guys. We know that. Portal guys jumping in the portal.
Sure.
Florida at 7. Now they got to win this game this week, or they may end up in the Gasparilla. But if they get to 7-5 with DJ Lagway and Jaden Ball and all these guys coming, and they're all going to be playing the game, I think it takes them up a notch in the bowl standings.
Yeah, it's attractive for sure. You got to give all those guys credit, and bowl games would be fun too, because you get some of these redshirt guys the ability to play, and just even look at more of the young talent that Florida's been featuring.
And the better the bowl, the better the hospitality room, right?
That's right. That's what it's all about.
All right, Jeff Cardozo, I appreciate you, buddy. I'll see you on the radio today.
Sounds good.
All right,
Thanks, Pat.
appreciate it. Okay, it is time for our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. And, of course, Hesser and Kipke is a Gainesville firm here for your needs in family law or workers' compensation. Just call or text Ken and Jennifer 24/7 at 352-339-9920. Hesser and Kipke, nearly 50 years of combined legal experience and about to celebrate their 5th anniversary in January, which is just right around the corner, man. It's hard to believe January is right around the corner. So we appreciate Hesser and Kipke. Let's get to number 1, our Hesser and Kipke 3 things, and that is, I don't know how many of you were paying attention. I wasn't, but I did read about it, that South Carolina's women finally lost a basketball game in the regular season. They lost to UCLA in Pauley Pavilion. UCLA is number 5 in the country. It's not a huge upset, but they don't lose, UCLA. So 43 games in a row they had won in the regular season, and that streak ends at courtesy of UCLA. And I got to admit, I'm not a big UCLA guy, but I would have been rooting for them against South Carolina, only because you want to see dynasties taken down to a point. But I know that Zach was not rooting for him. He's probably mad that I even brought it up as a Hesser and Kipke 3 things. Did you watch any of the game?
I usually scoreboard watch, and so I was a little upset to get that notification.
Yeah, they got hammered too, didn't they? Weren't they down like 20 or something at one point?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it was a crazy game. All right, let's go to number 2 on our Hesser and Kipke 3 things, and that is this question. Can Saquon Barkley win the MVP? It's only supposed to go to quarterbacks, right? Lamar, Aaron Rodgers, back when he was good and could play for a good team. It's always to the quarterbacks, Mahomes. But Saquon Barkley last night put on a show, 225, I think he had, 256. No, 225. That's a different number. And there's a lot of talk that he may have a chance to be the MVP. Now, can you be the MVP? Your team's got to be really good. Now, the Eagles are, 9-2, I think, now. So, yeah. So, I think he could be the MVP. And I certainly think that voters love to change things up. Like, if you've got the same thing happening all the time, they go, he's got his MVPs. Let's go with something different. That happens, believe me. And I'm thinking about it with my Heisman vote. Because I just don't see a way I cannot vote for Travis Hunter first, yet I don't want to, but because he's a Deion guy, but I still probably will. I got Tyler Warren on my list. I've got Cam Ward still on my list. There's a bunch of guys still on my list of guys that I'm considering. But sometimes you just don't want to vote for a guy because you want to be different. But I'm not going to – I try not to do that. I did that a long time ago, and it was really bad. And I'm not going to say who I voted for. It wasn't Charles Woodson. That was a legitimate vote. Cattleman likes to give me a hard time about that, not voting for Payton. All right, let's get to number 3 on our Hesser and Kipke 3 things, and that is the Big 12 is coming down, of course, to the end of its season, and there are, according to the Big 12, there are 9 tiebreakers that are 9 teams that are in play. Still going down to the last, there could be an 8-team tie in the Big 12. And the Big 12 put out today there are 256 possible scenarios that could happen. Now, if you're a Big 12 writer, you're going, I'll just write that. I'm just going to write there's 256 things that could happen. We're not going to list them all, and we're certainly not going to get into it, but we'll just see how it goes. But that'll be interesting. And not only that, because the Big 12 team may not end up with that bye. It could end up being Boise State, as we've talked about before, if they're ranked higher. We'll see how it all goes. It's going to be a crazy last couple of weeks. Enjoy it. Look, college football has been so much fun this year. We just need to keep enjoying it. We got 2 more weeks, and then we get the playoffs. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait. All right, that is our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. Let's move to our Gainesville Surf Club cool dude of the week, and this is not a dude. It is a dudette, and that is Kennedy Martin, who is our cool girl of the week, or lady of the week, I should say. You're not supposed to call them girls. Lady. Cool lady of the week, brought to you by the Gainesville Surf Club. 29 kills and 10 digs, another double-double for her on senior day, sent the seniors out the right way. Kennedy Martin, of course, just incredible athlete and just so much fun to watch, throwing bullets down over there. And she is our Gainesville Surf Club cool dudette of the weekend. And so we appreciate, and I can't wait to see what she does in the postseason. That's another thing. It's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait to watch that. Let's move along to our Adams Ribco Gator of the Weekend. And our Gator of the Weekend, there's a lot of people I could have chosen from for Gator of the Weekend. But I went with Montrell Johnson, and it's because it was senior day, and it was his last game in the swamp, and he has meant so much to this program. Ran for 127, the game-winning touchdown. That's enough for me. That makes you the Adams Ribco Gator of the Weekend for me, and I appreciate what he's been able to do here. 2 more games, Montrell. Let's go get them. All right, let's move along to our Leonardo's and Millhopper quick picks. You guys almost all qualify because most of you picked Florida in the points, and I appreciate that. So almost all of you qualify. So we'll have 1 more, and then we're going to make a poll on Wednesday for Thanksgiving for Leonardo's and Millhopper $25 gift certificate. I'm going to put something else in the prize slot as well. And there's just 1 more game to pick, and that is a Tuesday night game. Toledo giving up 8 at Akron. Do I know a lot about these teams? No. Toledo -8 at Akron. Pick a team, put it in, try to qualify again. We'll come in Wednesday. I'll have all the qualifiers, and we'll have Zach pick from a hat, or just pick pick in his head. I know he's already thinking about a number, or maybe not. All right, let us get to our Hugh Cain Allstate Mayhem moment.
The Gator Nation is in good hands with local Allstate agent Hugh Cain. Stop by Alachua Marketplace Plaza in Alachua and get a free quote today.
All right, this is my friend. His name is Sticks. I'm not going to give his real name. He is a good friend of mine. In fact, he stayed with us. He and his wife stayed with us. His wife, Julie, is taking this video. This is, I think, wraps up the way all Gator fans felt Saturday coming out of that game. And Sticks captured it in a Mayhem moment right here, doing his little dance, just loving life. He is as big a Gator fan as I know, and I'm glad he had a good time. In fact, he's the one who got my daughter and her husband into the game last week. So appreciate him. I don't know if he knows that I was going to put that up there, but I did anyway. Hey, once you share it, it's everybody's dynasty, right? But hey, look, that's what I'm saying. Everybody felt that way. Everybody felt Mayhem. In fact, I was telling Karen, I just want to go out and let's just go somewhere and do something and be around the Gator fans. She's like, well, I got this other stuff. I go, I know, honey, I know. She's doing this. She's doing her Christmas decorations and everything. I'm like, all right. Well, I'll just watch football instead. Yay, me. I won. It was fun. Look, I'm glad I didn't go out, to be honest with you, because being able to watch all that football was great. And because of that, I can get to our Steve and Christine Wendig present the 12, which we do every Monday on the show, and we'll give you the 12 teams that I think, and I'm sure they think, belong in the college football playoff. Now, again, some of you have to look at and go, why do you have them there? I'm like, well, this is what I have it as now. It could change, and it will change. We know that. Of course, Oregon's still number 1. Texas is still number 2. Now, Texas, there's a lot of people that say if they lose to A&M and they get beat badly, they might be out of it. I don't see that, but the strength of schedule is not great. I've got SMU as third. Now by that I'm saying I think SMU is better than Miami. And I think SMU is going to beat Miami in the playoff. Now we don't know if SMU is going to play Miami in the playoff. SMU's in the playoff, but it depends on what happens with Clemson and I guess it's still nobody knows who's in the playoff for them. For I'm talking about the ACC playoff. But I got SMU third, and I've got Arizona State four because I think they're going to win the Big 12, and I think that their wins are going to get them up above Boise to get in there. So basically what I said when I announced this is what I think right now is going to be it. But what I'm thinking, this is what I project right now. Does any of that make sense? That is like the dumbest thing I've ever said. Here's what I think's going to happen, but it's what I think right now. It's hard to figure out me. I will say that. Ohio State, number 5. I don't think anybody questions that because I think Oregon's going to beat Ohio State in the playoff. And then Notre Dame at 6. Go USC. Go USC. We're all rooting for USC this weekend because most of us don't like Notre Dame. And that's the thing about Notre Dame. You either love them or you hate them. And I know the people that love them to death. Rudy and all that, yeah. People that don't like them at all. And they think they get preferential treatment. And they may get it. And they probably do get it. But unless Notre Dame agrees to what you're going to do with a playoff, you can't have a real playoff because Notre Dame could go undefeated and say, hey, we're declaring ourselves champions. So anyway, that's a whole nother story. Number 7, I have Georgia. Number 8, Miami. So I'm assuming Miami loses to SMU and still gets in, which I think they will. But it could be dicey for them. Number 9, Penn State. Number 10, Tennessee Volunteers. Yes, I'm sorry. I've got them in there. And then number 11, Indiana, I think is still going to sneak in as long as they beat Purdue, and Purdue's like the worst team in the country. So I think they're going to still sneak in with only one loss and no good wins. We'll see. I'm curious Tuesday. Tuesday night's reveal is going to be very interesting for the first time. Like it's always interesting for sports talk and, stuff like that, but it's going to be interesting for the first time for everybody. And then 12, I got Boise State. Right now, that's who I've got in there. Now, who knows what's going to happen in there. And so I've got, who do I have out? Alabama, South Carolina, which I still think South Carolina, if it beats Clemson, can get in. It's going to be tough with a 3-loss team to get in. But they might sneak in, and they'll need some mayhem to happen. And maybe Hugh, Cain, Allstate can provide it, but they'll need some mayhem to happen. I've got Clemson out, but if Clemson beats South Carolina, that's going to get interesting. I got Colorado out. We'll see how. I mean, it's still very much in flux, and we'll be going into next weekend as well. It's exciting though. I love it. I love everything about this college football playoff. I told everybody that it was only going to make more games meaningful, and they kept saying, no, it's going to make more games meaningless. And I'm like, no, it's not. You saw how the underdogs all played last week. They played their tails off, so don't tell me college football games have gotten meaningless for anybody. Anyway, that's a whole nother thing I want to get to. All right, so I think the only thing we have left is our Swamp Restaurant Games of the Week, and we always love doing that. And boy, on Wednesday, my Games of the Weekend, I'm gonna have to figure out how to write all of them down because there's so much going on next week and this weekend, I guess, because you start with Thursday games, Friday games, Saturday, big games, and Sunday games. So we'll get to that then. But let's just give you what's going on coming up here. Tuesday, you do have that Toledo-Akron games at 7 o'clock on ESPNU. Thursday, there is a game that's worth watching in college, and I know I won't be able to get to it next on Wednesday, so I'm going to tell you now, Memphis at Tulane is kind of a big game, 7:30 on ESPN. It's not that big a game, but it's kind of a big game. Tulane's number 20 in the country, so I guess I don't know where that conference stands. So if Tulane, which is number 20, could win that game, who knows? Maybe they jump ahead of somebody. We don't. There's no. Tuesday, Bucks at the Heat. That is a 7:30 game on TNT, and then the Lakers at the Suns, 10 o'clock on TNT as well. And then tonight, of course, you got Ravens Chiefs if you're listening to this on Monday, 8:15 on ABC. And there is a Florida game against South Carolina Wednesday at 2 o'clock in volleyball. Now, why they're playing at 2, I guess, is to get back home for Thanksgiving. But they're at South Carolina to play volleyball. I know who Zach's rooting for. He knows who I'm rooting for. We're not going to get into it. But anyway, that is our Swamp Games of the Week. Appreciate Ryan and Kyle at the Swamp so much. They have done so much for us, not only with sponsorships, but just being good friends. And I appreciate them. I appreciate all of our sponsors. I'm really going to thank them all on Wednesday when we do our special Thanksgiving show. And I'll thank Zach, too, for putting up with all this crap I just throw at him. Boom, 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 boom. Always works out. We'll be back with another show on Wednesday. Don't forget Wednesday's show, special show. We'll get it up on the internet as well. I hope everybody's been able that don't really know how they can find it on Twitter and on Facebook. I put it up as soon as I get it. Not as soon, but usually within 20 minutes of when I get it. And so hopefully you guys are enjoying it. I will be back on Wednesday. For Zach, I am Pat Dooley. For our special guests, Steve Spurrier and Jeff Cardozo, we will be back on Wednesday. Until then, I'm Pat Dooley. I am deep. I'm way back, and I am out of here.